JBNN will keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones, and in the news, Mad Carver faces up to 30 years in U.S. prison for cocaine and gun possession. Veteran dancehall artist Mad Carver is facing up to 30 years in prison after deputies in Florence County, South Carolina on Tuesday discovered 2 kilograms of cocaine in his vehicle. According to the Florence County Detention Center, Mad Carver, given name Ewart Everton Brown, was given surety bonds of $5,000 on the charge of possession of a weapon during a violent crime and $120,000 on the charge of trafficking in cocaine, 400 grams or more. His bail is set at $125,000. A release from the Florence County Sheriff's Department said that 55-year-old Brown of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, was arrested after deputies initiated a traffic stop on his black BMW SUV for speeding. Once deputies had Brown stopped, they reportedly had reasonable suspicion of criminal activity and asked Brown for consent to search his vehicle. During the search, the deputies discovered 2 kilograms of cocaine and a 9mm Beretta. Angelo Garwood killer sentenced to 45 years in prison. Triggerman, 33-year-old Dwight Bingham, has been sentenced to 45 years in prison for killing Angelo Garwood as she worshipped in church in Trelawney in January 2021. The sentence was handed down on Tuesday in the Trelawney Circuit Court by Chief Justice Brian Sykes. He will need to serve 30 years before he is eligible for parole. Bingham's sentencing is the latest development in a case that sent shockwaves across the country. Senior Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, Claudette Thompson, who prosecuted the case, submitted that there were aggravating factors. The murder took place in broad daylight and the gun has not been recovered. It happened in a church while worship service was ongoing. The antecedent report pointed to what could be described as a contract killing. She said, "You are a dangerous man. You traveled from Montego Bay to Falmouth with one intention, and that was to kill Mrs. Lo Garwood. It did not matter to you whether they were licensed firewooders in church. You were prepared to take the risk. You had no scruples of conscience. I'll have to send you away for a very long time," Sykes said at the hearing. He then sentenced Bingham to 45 years on the murder charge and 25 years on the charge of illegal possession of firearm. The sentences are to run concurrently, meaning that he will serve 45 years. He benefited from a sentence in reduction of 3 years because of time spent in custody. Lo Garwood was shot and killed on January 31, 2021, while worshipping at the Agape Christian Fellowship Church in Trelawney by a man who sat in the pew behind her. The gunman subsequently escaped in a waiting motor car. Bingham pleaded guilty on July 3 to the charges of murder and illegal possession of firearm. Leon Hines, the getaway driver, pleaded guilty to illegal possession of a firearm and being an accessory after the fact and was sentenced to 6 years in prison on March 25, 2021. Last week, Lo Garwood's stepson, Javon Garwood, walked free after the prosecution's case crumbled because Bingham refused to testify against him. Lo Garwood's shocking murder was captured on video, live-streamed to worshippers who praised God from the safety of their homes, a way to keep themselves safe from the COVID-19 pandemic that raged at the time. As the shots rang out, those inside the Agape Christian Fellowship Church scrambled for cover. Gunmen opened fire on vehicle with British national in St. Mary. The Area 2 police has launched a search for suspects who opened fire on a motor vehicle occupied by a British national and other passengers in St. Mary on Monday. The Jamaican-born Briton and her friends escaped injury. It's reported that about 1 a.m., the woman and her friends were driving along the Three Hill Main Road in Retreat, St. Mary, when 2 men traveling on a motorcycle overtook them and pretended to be in an accident ahead. The complainant slowed to make inquiries, and one of the motorcyclists pulled a gun. The woman sped off, and the gunman fired shots, damaging the vehicle. They were able to elude the armed robbers. Body found wrapped in tarpaulin in St. Catherine. The St. Catherine North Police are trying to ascertain the identity of a male whose body was found wrapped in tarpaulin in bushes in Hill Run in the parish. Passers-by reportedly stumbled upon the body about 7 a.m. Wednesday. The nearby Fellowship Hall police station was contacted. The police team later confirmed the body was missing an ear and eye. The scene was processed and the body removed. Hill Run is a quiet farming community. Man on murder charge reportedly found with gun and ammunition at Westmoreland home. A 28-year-old man who was recently charged with murder in Kingston has once again been slapped with more charges. after a gun and the several rounds of ammunition were seized at his home in Whithorn, Westmoreland on Tuesday. Charged with possession of a prohibited weapon and unauthorized possession of ammunition is 28-year-old Romario He of Dumfries Street, Denhamtown in Kingston, and Hertford, Whithorn, Westmoreland. Reports are that about 10 p.m., lawmen conducted an operation at a premises where he occupied. During the search, 6 9mm rounds of ammunition were found in his possession. A further search of the premises was conducted the following morning, and 1 9mm pistol was seized. He was arrested on charge after a question and answer session in the presence of his attorney. He was recently charged with murder in Denhamtown and was ordered by the court to relocate, which he did, and went to Westmoreland. Man killed in fiery accident in Trelawney identified. The man was killed in a fiery crash on a section of the Hague Main Road in Trelawney on Monday has been identified. He is 74-year-old Rod McRae of Mansfield in Ocherias, St. Anne. Reports from the Falmouth police are that about 4 p.m., McRae was driving his Honda CR-V towards St. Anne when he allegedly overtook a line of traffic and collided with an international tractor-trailer. The Honda CR-V reportedly burst into flames on impact. The fire department was alerted and firefighters who responded carried out cooling down operations. McRae's charred remains were later retrieved from the vehicle. It was burnt beyond recognition. The driver of the tractor-trailer received minor injuries. Nikisha Wall, who knew McRae from church, described him as loving. Brother McRae, very jovial person. He was a people person. He was giving. He loved children. He loved family. Always a smile. Love him, and I tell you, I've never seen anybody like in any contention with him. He will be missed, she bemoaned. She said the church members will join hands in supporting the family. Monday's accident brings to 224 the number of people who have been killed in crashes since the start of the year. The National Road Safety Council has again called on citizens to be vigilant on the roads. Vice Chairman of the Council, Dr. Lucien Jones, urged motorists to obey the road codes. I think it is useful to remind all Jamaicans to wear seat belts front and back. When you're driving, do not drink alcohol and drive. Do not smoke marijuana and drive. Put on your helmets, both the driver of the motorcycle and the pillion rider. Make sure you wear light-colored clothing at night if you're a pedestrian, he said. Outrage about manner in which DPP's tenure has been extended. The Jamaican government is facing harsh criticisms for its decision to use its majority in the lower house to amend the constitution to increase the age of retirement for the Director of Public Prosecutions without consultation. The Constitution Amendment of Sections 96(1) and 121(1) Act 2023, tabled by Justice Minister Delroy Chalk, seeks to extend the retirement age of both the Auditor General and the Director of Public Prosecutions from 60 to 65 years. Watchdog group National Integrity Action said, while there may be justification for extending the retirement threshold, the rushed process engaged by the government to achieve this objective is unacceptable. Founding Director of National Integrity Action, Professor Trevor Monroe, speaking in an interview, said the government was setting a dangerous precedent. Dr. Lloyd Barnett, constitutional expert and a member of the Constitutional Reform Committee, in his response, said the government's handling of the extension of the DPP's tenure could reflect negatively on the office. In response to the outrage, Justice Minister Delroy Chalk asserted that there is no hidden agenda in the decision to amend the Constitution to extend the tenure of the DPP. The Justice Minister claimed that the concerns about the lack of consultation on the issue prior to tabling and passage of the bill in the House of Representatives was not justified. He contends that the amendment is a simple policy decision which should have been done long ago. This argument was robustly rebuffed by opposition MP Julian Robinson. He believes the decision will compromise the independence and impartiality of the DPP's office. Meanwhile, King's Counsel Peter Champagne has given support to the decision to increase the age of retirement for the DPP. Champagne said it is unfortunate that there has been opposition to the move to amend the Constitution to facilitate the extension of the DPP's tenure. He believes the squabble is rooted in politics. Jamaica is one of the very few countries, and may in fact be the only country in the region, that the age of retirement is 60 years for the DPP. Personally speaking, it is regrettable that those detractors of our current DPP have never encountered her or her prosecutors in the adversarial arena. Herself, as well as the prosecutors under her leadership, have been outstanding, he argued. I suppose that this is a case where a king is never really honored in his own country. I would endorse and I think that Ms. Llewellyn is an outstanding public servant, and her contribution to Jamaica has been immense. It should not be marred in sheer politics, the defense attorney asserted. Lottery scammer says he did not make much. A St. James man will find out this Friday how much time he'll have to spend in prison after he pleaded guilty to participating in a lottery scam targeting elderly Americans. His plea was entered in the St. James Circuit Court on Monday. Michael Koch was charged with possession of identity information alongside his girlfriend Moisha Nedrick, who was pleaded not guilty to the charge. The two were arrested on August 24, 2018, after a team of officers went to their home in Bowgill, St. James. During a search of a chest of drawers, cops discovered a black plastic bag containing 10-letter-sized papers with the names, addresses, and phone numbers of people residing overseas. A further search was conducted, and a handbag was found to contain an additional 12-letter-sized papers with identity information. When informed of the findings, Coke reportedly said to the officer, "Like how I make $100 every 2 weeks, you can't give me back the paper them?" Nedrick reportedly then told Coke, "Shut your mouth." The two were subsequently taken to the Montego Bay police station where they were cautioned. Coke reportedly ignored the advice to avoid saying anything and told cops, "My girlfriend didn't do anything. Why you have her in this? I'll take the blame for everything." When Nedrick was cautioned, she made no comment. On Monday, High Court Judge Justice Judith Pusey ordered a social inquiry report on Coke, as well as the defendant's antecedents, and postponed sentencing until July 28. The case against Nedrick will be mentioned on that date. Their bails were extended. Coke also allegedly committed a similar offense on April 28, 2019, in which hundreds of names, addresses, and phone numbers were discovered inside two Microsoft Excel documents on his cell phone. That matter will also be mentioned on July 28. Coke's conviction is one of few amid a slew of cases against the alleged scammers that have crumbled because of challenges at the police forces, communication forensics, and the cybercrime division, CFCD. Also in the St. James Circuit Court on Monday, three men, Omar Scott, Javaris Maxwell, and Josimar Richards, who had been accused of possessing identity information, were the latest to walk free because of the CFCD's inability to provide reports that were crucial to the prosecution's case. This after Chief Justice Brian Sykes, earlier this month, expressed concern about the issue. Sykes pointed to the large number of alleged scammers who had walked free in the space of a few weeks while he was presiding over the Trelawney Circuit Court. In response to the Chief Justice's remarks, Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP Paula Llewellyn, explained that systematic shortcomings at the CFCD had contributed to 52 cases being dismissed in Trelawney for the period in question. She said the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and the CFCD have been in constant discourse over the years, and that there has been interaction with the different levels of the police force hierarchy to determine the best way forward. However, she noted it was obvious that, notwithstanding the best efforts of the police, there are long-standing and entrenched issues that undermine their timely provision of reports in lottery scamming matters. Among these issues, the DPP said, is a high turnover rate of highly qualified CFCD employees who are often lured by more lucrative offers. They're feeling that there's a lack of opportunity for career advancement within the CFCD, and the high caseload, which is becoming even more onerous as cyber-related cases increase. At JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.